Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Life isn't easy. There's so much going on in our lives. Then there's so much going on around us, even worldwide. And it's easy to get caught up in that and feel that negativity and just feel like you just want to just crawl out to put your head above the water sometimes. How do you stay positive? We're going to talk with somebody that works with people on that all the time. And I do believe part of it is practicing gratitude, perfect in line with Thanksgiving, which is a day away. And here we are is entering the holiday season. He's a board certified master life coach, has a PhD in psychology, and has a fantastic book that we'll talk about. Dr. John Carney is back with us. Hey, John, how you doing?
And I'm good, Steve. How are you, sir?
Very well, very well. Uh, this whole positivity thing, I don't want people to think that we're just saying put the rose-colored glasses on and just look at it in a different way. That's not what we're saying here, right?
That's exactly right, Steve. It's like, well, there's just like you were saying perfectly in the intro there. It's like so much is coming against it since COVID. It's changed the world. It's changed the world how we view things all the way around the world. And then whether we have relationship problems or depression, heaviness, oppression, anxiety, like we talked a lot about last time, codependency, conflict resolution struggles, stress management, time management. Of course, all this is covered in my book in detail as kind of a how-to manual. But the point is it's like, what do we do with that stuff? Where do we go? What are some things, this is what I've kind of been focusing on this week with people is what do we actually, how do we get a handle on that stuff, especially if we're maybe feeling a bit concerned or oppressed a little or whatever in the holidays. Maybe it's not all that fantastic for us at times.
Is there, I mean, I believe that, and having lived it, you have to be intentional about the positivity. For me personally, I'm always looking for something to look forward to. That's what keeps me going. And I don't know if that works for others. Is that a normal thing?
Well, I don't know about most people doing it naturally, but like you said perfectly, we got to work at it, right? And hope is the thing. It's like, where do we find hope? Some of the things that I've been suggesting for people this week is actually some of my people come up with it on their own because they're so hungry for it, is a gratitude journal. A list, even a list of things I'm actually thankful for. Oh, come on, John. This is Thanksgiving, I know, but give me a break. Well, the
Mm-mm.
thing is if we can focus on the stuff that we are thankful for, it's amazing. A big part of my life, my book, and so forth is looking inward. But a lot of stuff that maybe is suggested, if we can find healthy people to surround ourselves with, is looking outward. And how can we love on people? How can we respect? How can we encourage and uplift others? Because a lot of times it will be seed sown and come back to us. And whether that's gratitude and thankfulness, inside of ourselves, spiritually, externally, interpersonally, it's a powerful thing to focus on. And this season is a beautiful and intense reminder for such.
I want to get granular about the gratitude journal. I practice it. Yeah, I miss a day every once in a while. I've even given others a gratitude journal. And side note, there's one out there, it's like $25. I found a knockoff for like $7 and it gets the job done just as good, if not better.
Right.
Um, but what should we be doing? Because I often wonder, where am I going with this? I hear, write three things every day that you are grateful for. And it could be anything, cup of coffee, could be the big stuff, the little stuff, whatever it might be. Then I've heard that write it down and then write down how it makes you feel, not just but how it makes you feel. Um, so then, and sometimes, and then somebody else has said that do it before bed with your feet on the floor, i.e., you're grounding. And they say in 14 days you'll start realizing that you're sleeping better. You're just feeling better. So for you, what do you think is the best practice in keeping the gratitude journal?
That's beautiful and everything you said there because you want to involve, well, like we talked last time, It takes thoughts that lead to feelings that lead to action. And so if you kind of remember those three elements, I want to focus my thoughts by writing it down, as well as telling somebody else, giving a witness for it, exposure to somebody else. So announcing it to somebody else, but the thoughts, and then what are the emotions that go along with it that you might write down, and then the actions of announcing what you're ecstatic, happy, excited, hopeful about to somebody else, and then also involve your five senses throughout the day. As you're thankful, how can you focus on feeling, touching, smelling, hearing, positioning yourself for nurturance, as I call it? Positioning yourself for nurturance internally is going to fill up your cup. And can you do that involving your five senses with action somehow and doing it as you maybe give to others?
Hmm. Give to others. How do you mean?
Well, if I say to somebody what I'm thankful for in general, that's good. If I say to somebody else, maybe a couple times a day for a week or two or this month, something we're thankful for about them, that makes it a little more personal, a little more special, powerful. It takes guts. You want to be careful who you're saying that to and make it safe, that it's a safe person, but maybe even a stranger at the grocery store or something. What can
Hmm.
you do to step outside of your comfort zone to give a gift of encouragement to somebody?
Hmm. I again, it goes back to being intentional and making it a habit because I've gotten in the habit of whenever I return an email, more times than not, I say thank you. And there's always something legitimately to say thank you for. I'm not
Mhm,
just saying it just to put it there at the open of the email, but
mhm,
thank you for your thoughts on that. And then I continue with the email, or thank you for setting that up, and then I continue. Those two words, thank you, are powerful.
mhm. Like I'm an appreciative person.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, do you believe that when we practice gratitude, now we're getting a little woo-woo here, but let's go, that we're sending a message to the universe to give us more things that we want and appreciate so that we can be grateful for them? It's almost as if you're opening up the door to more.
Well, that's what I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about seed sowing. It's
Okay.
everything we do is, I mean, it's right in line. Everything we do now, bear with me here. I might be a little intense with this, but we're either sowing seeds of life or we're sowing seeds of death in every single thing we say. Now, logistically, okay, can you take care of this job over here? Would you mind taking care of this job? Would you take care of that job? So it's how you say it. It's 80% is nonverbals, right? Loudness, pitch, tone, pacing. And so how we think about and go about announcing and celebrating life. What are we doing? Are we celebrating life or celebrating death? Sometimes, now this sounds kind of crazy maybe, but some people live a life of slow suicide because they default into their base nature of neglecting themselves and or others out of maybe passivity, or we just get too busy or whatever. But we load up over time with toxins, mentally and emotionally and physically, and you know what? This sowing seeds of grace, sowing seeds of mercy, of thanksgiving, encouragement, getting outside of our comfort zone to do so, that detoxifies us every time we do it. But you're
Hmm.
right, sowing it in the universe, or it's a spiritual maneuver, actually.
Wow. Getting kind of heavy here, but really good because I've never looked at it that way. When you practice the positivity, the gratitude, and all of that, you're helping to cleanse yourself. I never looked at it that way.
And
And
I suppose we pick up stuff, negative stuff, toxins, metals, whatever. We pick up stuff we eat, we breathe, we see, we sense toxins all over the place by accident, sometimes intentionally, but by accident a lot. And it's like, how do we detoxify our very being from that stuff? And like you're saying, we can do that by celebrating life and speaking life to others, to ourselves. If I've got a low self-worth, if I've got a problem, if I'm waking up feeling bad about myself in different kind of ways, or I've been rejected, wounded, betrayed, this kind of stuff, but we look in the mirror and we say, you're pretty awesome. You're pretty
Mm,
awesome. Or for ladies, you're very beautiful. Or for all of us, you are looking in the mirror. You are precious. You are powerful. You are fixing to walk into abundance today. Do you realize that? Talking to
mm.
yourself in the mirror. And we can do that. We have the chance of choice.
We have everything in life is a choice. What we're going to do in 5 seconds from right now, we made a choice. We have a choice. 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years. It's our choice. I'll bet you that most people can't look themselves in the mirror and even say, I love you. It's uncomfortable. Some people I would think would cry.
That's right.
And I don't mean with anybody around.
Right, right. That's right. I love you. And another one akin to that is I'm proud of you.
Mm,
Now, talking about deep down inside, all of us have a little version of ourself, our most intimate, vulnerable self inside. We all have parts, but like I've got a little boy, you've got a little boy, a lady would
sure.
have a little girl inside. And looking at the older self as well as that younger self in the mirror and saying, you are so precious to me, or
Mm,
especially relative to a guy, I am so proud of you. No matter what I've done today, yesterday, or the previous day, or
sure.
maybe I failed at something, it doesn't make me a failure. It doesn't have to disturb my preciousness. It doesn't have to.
Going to be very honest here, John. A second ago, when you said, I'm proud of you, for a millisecond, it registered in my mind as if you were saying you were proud of me.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest here. In that millisecond, I almost got a little uncomfortable. Like, proud of me? Why? Why would you want to be proud of me? Why? I'm being very honest. And I believe that goes back to what we have inside of us, and we all have it.
Yeah.
Some degree, smaller degree, not being worthy enough, feeling that we're not good enough for whatever. So I think in a millisecond, you triggered the, oh, wait a minute. Nobody says
And
they're proud of me.
like you said in the previous show, it is so incredible the quote unquote leftovers from childhood. And so the little boy inside of you was yearning so much to hear Father, Dad, look at him and say that sincerely. Every little boy, every little girl is wishing to hear from a healthy father, a safe father, an incredible father, say to them, I am so proud of you. And it's like, but here's our choice. Can we receive that?
Yeah.
Can we receive it? That makes a choice.
Isn't it interesting that we wanted it when we were kids? We're adults, but the kid still wants it.
Desperately clinging to hope.
Back to the word again. What what's the difference between hope and faith?
Oh, wow. Oh, now you're getting tough, brother. Now you get
I
tough.
don't, and I don't have a PhD.
Well, all that is piled high and deeper anyway. But um, yeah, so hope. This is ancient text that talks about hope deferred makes the heart sick. So hope is huge, and we choose it. You say, "Oh, well, I have hope," or "No, I'm hopeless." Nobody can make me feel anything. We talked about that last time. So even that is a choice. A choice to have hope is faith in action.
Ooh, I need that. I need that said again to process that.
I'm not sure I can. It just came out. I don't remember what I said, but
But it
but
was profound, but I'm trying
yes,
to piece it
yes.
together
Some of
there.
those nuggets just fly right.
Hope is Faith in action?
Yes, hope is the choice, and it is actually the power, the vehicle, the vessel, the movement of faith, substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. That is the definition of faith. Again, in ancient text
Hmm.
and around civilizations throughout the world for eons, faith is substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is a vehicle, a vessel, and we're choosing hope within that. So they are very much interwoven.
Let's reverse engineer it. Let's say you've gotten to the point where you have faith in yourself, which is wonderful. Takes time to get there. Sometimes you got to go through the bad to get to the good, but you have faith in yourself. Like, I trust you now. I'm good. You can pull this off. Resilience. How does hope come into play with that? Faith
You
in
know,
yourself.
it's interesting, faith in yourself. Some people might say, "Oh, don't go get haughty, don't get prideful, don't get arrogant." Well, that's the negative side of it. But faith in with inside yourself, moving inside of yourself powerfully with hope, that's not what we call arrogance or self-consumed. It's called self-assuredness.
Hmm.
And so, if we have that hope, if we have that faith moving inside of ourselves, with and about ourselves, that's not arrogance, especially if we're thinking in terms of maybe a higher power or something bigger than us that we're involved in. It's like, and connected to and aligned with, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like when that stuff is cooking inside, let the world come at me. Bring it on, baby, bring it on. And so
Yeah.
when the world comes at me, it's not that I'm armor clad, but it's like I have a natural protection, an aura, a protection, a buffer around me that moves with me
Yeah.
because I've chosen to have that flowing through my system.
It's and I experienced it. Had some changes in life and such, and I didn't realize it as slowly was building more resilience. And somebody said to me one day, and this is only maybe 3 years ago, how are you doing it? How are you getting through it? How? And I said, I don't know. I'm just moving forward. That's it. That's what you got to do. Um, and that's what I did.
That takes faith. It takes choice. It takes faith. And you know what? It's called, and I used to be a physics major, engineering, all this kind of stuff, and outer
Wow.
space.
Wow.
But and so it's inertia. It's when we take that step into something, we're sowing seeds of hope and faith in action, and that train's fixing to move, baby. It is fixing to move. We have unchocked the wheels because we have put that stuff in action. And it's going to work because it's that universe that we're sowing seeds into. It can't help. It's like the law of thermodynamics, or the laws of propulsion, or it's the law of energy and movement.
Yeah. Which wants to keep moving and knows no time and no space. Um, okay. Let's go deeper now. Peel another couple of layers. Let's say you've gotten to the point where you have faith and you're pretty good with it. Let's just say hypothetically here. Um, and you're not surprised. Maybe back in the day things would trip you up, but you've gotten faith in the universe. You started sowing the seeds, as you say. How do you know you're not desensitizing yourself to what's going on around you so that you move forward?
Another word for that is called numbing.
Sure.
Exactly. Yep, yep. And how do you know? Well, three different things come to mind. It's not good to, even though at times as an introvert, I want to go live on an island, but it's not good to just go live on an island. So ask others. Ask others from time to time. Make it safe person, a healthy person, accountability person. How am I doing? Touch base with me. I give you permission to speak into my life. Tell me, how am I doing this week? What do you sense coming off of me? How do we know if we're not getting too numb to things with however we're managing life? And it's like, take stuff and always be reading if you can. I'm not a big reader these days. I used to be, but it's read for, again, nurturance, incoming flow. What do we take into our system? See, here's kind of the answer to that question, Steve. We're a conduit. And we've got to position ourselves for nurturance, healthy nurturance, healthy stuff to bring into our system. And we've got to detoxify and let go of stuff out of our back end, per se. And we've got to keep that flow going. And so I've talked to people about healthy anger work in my book, as far as if you've got depression, because depression, a way to think about it, definition is anger turned inward. And so if you want to get rid of depression, you've got to get rid of that anger in healthy anger. And then on the front end, how do I position myself for nurturance, healthy nurturance? So we set ourselves up for life or death based upon those choices to walk in that resiliency and then connect with others to be sure we're not numbing out.
I just got a visual of, you said reading, and I'm the same. I'm exactly what you just said. I have books. I want to read them. I get 12 pages in. I get busy. I need to go back to them. I'm setting the intention. But based on what you just said, it almost sounds as if it's the tide coming in to wash maybe the negative energy out. And that's the book. You know, whatever you're thirsty for. And interestingly, I think I shared them in a men's group, met last night, and we do commitments. We have 90-day goals. We do weekly commitments. 8 men there last night. 3/4 of them all said, I need to read this book or that book, and we're setting the intention for it. It's almost as if they don't even realize that they're doing what they're doing in terms of, clearing or getting more insight to push the negative stuff out.
Not being stale.
Yeah.
It's a choice not to be stale in life.
Yeah. And thirsty. By the way, set intentions. As we're talking, I look down. This is a mouse pad I bought, and it says, stay positive, be happy, live free. But, subconsciously, when I look down, I'm looking at it. I don't even know I'm looking. It's like wallpaper now. But I bought it for that reason. So It would be in my face. As your book should be, Heal Your Soul Permanently. Just a wonderful book. A lot of the principles that we're talking about here today in the book. What's the best way to find out about the book, order it potentially? Let's say somebody's got questions about coaching. How do they do that, John?
Thank you, Steve. All people need to do is they can look up the book on Amazon, amazon.com, Heal Your Soul Permanently. Look under John W. Carney or Dr. John Carney. But yeah, Heal Your Soul, ... permanently. And the subtitle, not that you need it, but is Be Set Free from Depression, Anxiety, Codependency, and More. And if they want to get a hold of me, it's just simply www.johncarneycoaching.com. And that's Carney, johncarneycoaching.com.
Wonderful talking with you today, John. I never realized that you have a science-based background, which adds a lot to what we're talking about here. And I don't want to say credibility, because you got an incredible credibility, but just knowing, energetically, that background, I find it fascinating. Thank you so much for being here, and looking forward next time we get together.
Me as well. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home. that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.